The dramatic increase that we're seeing in the use of e-cigarettes by our young people is threatening strides that we have made to reduce overall tobacco use. And you quoted in your written testimony a study that was done by the National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine that concludes that teens who experiment with an e-cigarette are more likely to try conventional cigarettes compared to teens who have never used e-cigarettes. Hasn't the rationale that's been given for e-cigarettes is that it will help people stop smoking? And yet, here we have a study that clearly states that teens who begin using e-cigarettes are more likely to start smoking conventional cigarettes. Could you comment on that?
Sure, and thank you for the question, Senator. It's part of, call it a public health balancing act. When we look at what's going on with kids, any kid's use of any of these products, whatever the trajectory is going to be, goes on the negative side of the ledger. But pulmonary delivery of nicotine in a properly regulated marketplace is something that could potentially benefit some currently addicted cigarette smokers, but only if they completely switch to the electronic cigarette. And our job as regulators, as we look at applications, as we look at what's going on in the marketplace, is to do this public health balancing act. The imperative from a public health perspective is to not allow another generation of kids to become addicted to nicotine.
Well, that's exactly my fear, not to mention the illnesses that we are seeing right now. Let me follow up on a couple of other points that you made. In your written testimony, and again in your oral testimony, you said that it's important to remember that no ENDS e-cigarette product in the United States is on the market legally, and that instead the FDA is exercising enforcement discretion. Given the harm that we're seeing and the high percentage of youths who are using it, even in middle school and in high school, 27.5% you said today, why is the FDA exercising discretion?
As soon as we have a policy that we can come back to the committee to talk about, we'll be able to go into more detail about what the plans are. But your question is extremely well taken, and we try to be as candid as possible about the state of the marketplace. From the day that we got regulatory authority over e-cigarettes, starting in the summer of 2016, there was an exercise of enforcement discretion for the products currently on the market. If there's an e-cigarette that's not on the market, they're subject to the pre-market review. Or if a company tried to put an e-cigarette onto the market after that August 2016 date, well, that's a violation of the law, and we've taken enforcement action. So what we're talking about is the application of enforcement discretion to the products that were on the market as of that August 8th, 2016 cutoff date. And that is the policy that we are working on. And when it is finalized, we'd be happy to come back to the committee and go into detail on that.
Given these very serious illnesses that we've seen in 49 states, including Maine, why not ban refillable e-cigarettes? Wouldn't that help prevent situations where other teens are putting in oils or other dangerous substances like THC, or maybe they're not doing it, maybe criminals are doing it, but why allow them to be refillable?
Ultimately, for the products that have to come through a pre-market review process, there is a court-ordered deadline where whatever products remain on the market, these companies are going to have to file applications with the agency by May of next year. What Senator Kaine was pressing on is, well, where's the administration's policy now, and what's the administration going to do about it? And what we're looking at is what are the steps that we can take to best protect kids? And it's two things. It's the alarming increase overall in kids' use of e-cigarettes at the high school and middle school level, and the increase in the popularity of flavored products.